Hogwarts may be the greatest school of witchcraft and wizardry in the world, but let's be honest, some of its rules are downright bizarre. From dangerous restrictions that make sense to rules that seem completely pointless to ones that are broken so often you wonder why they exist at all. Today we're counting down the top 10 craziest rules at Hogwarts. The ones that made us scratch our heads, laugh out loud, or secretly wish we could break them ourselves. So grab your wand and let's head straight into the castle halls. Let's start with one of the most infamous rules. Boys are not allowed in the girls' dormitories. This isn't just a guideline, it's magically enforced. If a boy even tries to climb the stairs, they transform into a slippery slide, sending them tumbling back down. Now the reverse isn't true. Girls can visit the boys' dorms without issue. J.K. Rowling once explained that this was based on an old-fashioned belief that girls were more trustworthy. But really it feels more like Hogwarts just forgot to update its magic for modern times. Fair? Maybe not. Hilarious to imagine Ron getting thrown down the stairs? Absolutely. This is a rule every Hogwarts student knows, and almost no one follows. You're technically not supposed to use magic in the hallways. This is a rule every Hogwarts student knows, and almost no one follows. You're technically not supposed to use magic in the hallways. The reason is obvious. Too many wands going off at once in a crowded castle would be chaos. But think about it. This is a magical school. Telling young witches and wizards to not use magic is like telling kids in a football academy not to kick balls in the halls. Between Peeves dropping dung bombs, Fred and George testing skiving snack boxes, and Harry literally dueling Malfoy in the middle of a corridor, this rule feels more like a suggestion than a law. The clue's in the name. The Forbidden Forest is strictly off-limits to students. Which makes sense, it's full of werewolves, acromantulas, and the occasional centaur with a short temper. But here's the crazy part. Teachers are constantly sending students in there as punishment. Remember Harry and Draco serving detention with Hagrid in the middle of the forest at night, while Voldemort was literally drinking unicorn blood nearby. Hogwarts, where your punishment for breaking the rules is to go somewhere even more dangerous. Brilliant. When you play Quidditch at Hogwarts, your broom skills can make you a hero, or get you banned in an instant. We saw McGonagall ban Harry from Quidditch for a whole season after his fight with Malfoy, and Umbridge banned Fred, George and Harry in Order of the Phoenix. On the one hand, it makes sense to punish bad behaviour, but banning your seeker right before the big match, that's like suspending the star quarterback before the Super Bowl. If anything, it just feels like Hogwarts loves adding a little extra drama to its favourite sport. You'd think one of the perks of living in a magical castle would be midnight snacks. But no, students aren't supposed to enter the kitchens. The rule exists mostly to keep the house elves from being disrupted in their work. But of course, Hogwarts being Hogwarts, everyone knows how to get in anyway. Tickle the pair of the painting and suddenly you've got a full buffet at your fingertips. Harry, Ron and Hermione broke this rule countless times, and honestly, who wouldn't? Pumpkin pasties on demand. Sign us up. This one's less silly and more frustrating. No one can apparate or disapparate inside Hogwarts, except for Dumbledore. The reason is safety. You wouldn't want students vanishing into walls or Death Eaters popping into the common room uninvited. Still, the fact that the rule is magically enforced meant it created some of the tensest moments in the series. Harry and Dumbledore trapped on the astronomy tower couldn't disapparate. The Battle of Hogwarts, everyone had to stick it outside the castle. Sometimes the very rule that was meant to keep Hogwarts safe made it far more dangerous. Remember when Harry first got his broom? Flying is one of the greatest joys of the wizarding world, but at Hogwarts there's a strict ban on flying indoors. Which makes sense because can you imagine hundreds of students zooming around the corridors like it's rush hour? But the weird thing is, this rule only seems to apply when teachers feel like enforcing it. Fred and George enchanted snowballs to hit Quirrell in the back of the head. Peeves throws objects all the time. And Harry and Ron literally crash a flying car into the Whomping Willow. If Hogwarts really wanted this rule to stick, they'd need a lot more than Filch to enforce it. Every Hogwarts student is supposed to be in their dormitory by a set curfew. Wander around after dark, and you risk detention, or worse, running into Filch and Mrs. Norris. But here's the kicker. The most important adventures in Harry Potter all happen after curfew. From sneaking to the restricted section to chasing Peter Pettigrew to finding the Mirror of Erised, almost every major plot point depends on Harry and friends breaking curfew. It's almost as if Hogwarts knew curfew was more of a challenge than a rule. Libraries are supposed to be safe, right? Not at Hogwarts. The restricted section of the library is full of books so dangerous that they literally scream when opened. Students need a teacher's note to even look at them. Of course, that never stopped Harry, Hermione, or anyone else. And let's be real, giving a bunch of rule-breaking teenagers a section of the library they can't go into is basically inviting them to sneak in. It's less a restriction and more a dare. And finally, the craziest Hogwarts rule. Students are forbidden from entering the common rooms of other houses. On the surface, it makes sense. Privacy, security, and house rivalry all play a part. But when you think about it, it's kind of wild. You're sorted into a house at age 11, and from that point on, you're not even allowed to see where classmates from other houses live. For a school that preaches unity in the fight against Voldemort, Hogwarts sure loves building walls between its students. This rule created some of the biggest divides in the series. Imagine how differently things might have turned out if the Slytherins and Gryffindors actually spent time together outside class. So there you have it, the top 10 craziest rules at Hogwarts. Some are outdated, some are unfair, and some are downright dangerous. But that's the magic of Hogwarts. It's not perfect, it's chaotic. And sometimes the very rules that are supposed to keep students safe are the ones that create the most trouble. And the most fun. Which Hogwarts rule do you think is the craziest? And if you were a student, which one would you break first? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more magical deep dives from Harry Potter University. Mischief managed.